Today, you'll be receiving from a message full of God's power to help you become everything that God has created you to be. You know, God sent his son, Jesus, to die for you to have a life of abundance and for you to be an ambassador for him. What does that mean? That your life should represent his goodness. It's time to be about it. Tune in today's message and you'll be blessed.
You could have all this Bible knowledge and all this faith, but Hebrews talks about faith without works is dead. Galatians talks about faith without works is dead. It also says that faith worketh by love, meaning this, that if you don't have love in operation in your life, it will definitely short circuit your faith. Similarly to how a car, no matter how sweet it is, if you don't put gas in it, it's not going anywhere. There was a person in my family, they were driving a very nice car one day, and they were on the freeway, and that car broke down right in the middle of the freeway. And I remember them calling, and, we're having to send AAA out there and, make sure that you're safe on this freeway, because, being on the freeway and getting outside your car is a dangerous thing. And I respect our law enforcement who do it all the time. And so we're all concerned about that, only to find out when help gets there to try and tow the car or fix the car or figure out what caused this car to stop in the middle of the freeway. The only problem was that the car ran out of gas. And it was a top-of-the-line, top-notch car, and it wasn't the car. It wasn't the manufacturer's fault. It was the fault of the driver who forgot to keep that gas in the tank. And oftentimes when we're on our freeway of life, when we're coasting, and we're getting up to speeds, and you get to the place where things start to break down or things start to go wrong, it's very easy to blame the manufacturer. God, how come you let this happen? And I'm asking you to check yourself and make sure that you've got love in the tank and you have not allowed what somebody else did to you to get you to sin and cut off the love working in your life, which affects your faith. And if you're not operating in faith, you're not able to access all that God has for you. And the interesting thing about it is you keep going. Verse 27 says, after it says, be ye angry and sin not, it says, neither give place to the devil. Which means this, he's saying, be angry. Yeah, I get it that you're angry. And there are a lot of things that are happening around us, are happening in our world that will anger you. But he's saying, don't give place to the devil. And how many times have we gotten ourselves tripped up because of what somebody else did? I remember when I was, I would probably say when I was younger, and, my father is Bishop Keith Butler. And as I was growing up, there were just things that I didn't understand about how people may have looked at me, especially when I first came into adulthood and I really started getting out on my own. I'm a very friendly person, and, I never really look at my dad like, oh, wow, I want to be in the ministry and Bishop can help me get further, or he can maybe look like they got some money. Maybe I can get some money for them. Oh, they probably know a lot of people. Maybe I can be friends with them. They can hook me up with somebody that will help. I don't think that way. That's never been my thought process. I opened up my eyes and these are my parents, and this is what they do. They're children of God and they're called to minister, and this is what they do in the grace and anointing that they flow in. But that's the extent of it that I saw, right? And so all three of us, my brother and my sister and I, we dealt with situations where we had allowed people into our lives whose motives were incorrect. And I know there was a particular situation with me where I had allowed someone into my life, and, I had developed this relationship, and I'm just, young and out here and free flowing and what have you, failing to realize that the person was not there, even though they were expressing that they were genuine in the relationship. It came out as time went on that they were actually interested in what they could get from me. And I remember having my heart completely broken. And it didn't just stay in that situation. You know how sometimes when things happen in your life, it'd be one thing if it's just dealing with you and the person. But it was just people running and talking, and a story starts spreading, a story starts changing, and it was making me look real bad. whole lot of people getting involved and all kind of stuff. And my parents had taught me a long time ago is that don't get in this arena trying to defend yourself. Allow the Lord to defend you. Make sure you stay in the way that you're supposed to be and let God avenge you. And I remember thinking, whatever. I'm like, what you did to me, and then you're going to try and make a fool of me, and then you're going to try and be fake, and then you're going to try and be friends with people that I know, and then you're going to be trying to be nice to my sister or nice to my brother or faking my dad's face and then trying to dog me out behind my back. I mean, woo! Y'all know when some people get on your nerves, and it's like that pride rises up on the inside. If you think you about to get away with this and I'm not about to do nothing about this, you got another thing coming. Well, I made the mistake that so many people make, and that is the gravity of what you're dealing with does not make an excuse for you to get outside of the word. Let me say it another way where it's a little bit more clear. You can't allow yourself to feel justified and entering into sin simply because of what somebody else did to you. Just because they were crazy in how they handled you does not give you the right to be crazy in how you handled them. In fact, that's what it means. Don't give the devil any place. Listen, it does not mean that by you entering into a place, I had to make a decision to forgive the person. And I had to make the decision to forgive the person multiple times. And make the decision to just walk quietly. Let the naysayers talk. Let the people talk. I had to find my peace in the Lord. And there were long periods of time and many opportunities I had to blow this person up, to get into all this, to let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you how. Many times, and I passed those things by. In fact, one time the Lord had me bless the person. I was like, oh, I know I've been listening to the word for me to be able to do this. But I found myself in a position where there were times where I'd be good, and there would be times where their name would come up and that hair on the back of my neck would stand up. And I'd be like, you little jerk, don't you ever. Or sometimes if I see them, then I'm like, I'm just picturing like just knocking them over the head with something. And every time that popped up, I recognized that I had to renew my mind in the word of God, because what they did to me was bad. What they did to you was bad. What happened to you was bad. It may not have been your fault, but if you hold on to it and you allow it to develop into offense and strife and bitterness, you're not only sulking in what was already done to you, but you're allowing that person's hurt and pain to continue to have place in your life and continue to hurt you in the future. Forgiveness is not about the person that hurt you. It's for you. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping it kills the other person. And there are so many of us who are short-circuited in our life for this reason alone. Deceived. Well, you don't deserve nothing from me. Listen, just because you forgive someone does not mean that you have to enter back into that level of relationship with that person. Oftentimes, that person shouldn't have been there in the first place. I'm not talking about if you're married to your spouse. I'm talking to your spouse. That's a separate situation. But I'm definitely saying that forgiving someone does not say, that makes it okay what you did. It also doesn't mean that, okay, I forgive you, so now I'm going to put you back into a place, into a secure spot in my life to allow you to be back in my inner circle. You need to be led about who is in your inner circle, because this is one of the greatest attacks and the most successful attacks that Satan uses in shutting down and short-circuiting the power of God in our lives. And the interesting thing about it is that, the word Christian actually means to be Christ-like. And though our response to anger is all of these things I've already mentioned, God's response to anger, because we know that God gets angry, but his response to anger is redemptive. Pause and think about that. It is redemptive. I think about Jesus when he found out that his cousin John the Baptist was dead and that he was murdered, and he was beheaded on top of that. And then he was beheaded publicly because the king was enticed by a mother and her hoochie daughter who did some sort of seductive sexual dance that ended up in the beheading of his cousin. Can you imagine the level of emotion that he had as a result of that? Can you imagine the amount of anger that he had as of that? Jesus knew who he was. If I was Jesus, I might have called down all kind of angels and hell and fire and all kind of stuff on the mama, the daughter, the king, everybody that watched. I mean, y'all can't just do that. But I want you to notice his response. His response was he went away by himself. He got in a boat by himself to get himself together. And sometimes the most important thing when that anger, that offense tries to rise up, you got to get alone and you got to get the word back in your heart. You've got to deal with those emotions. Oftentimes, if you respond right away and you're flying off the seat of your pants, and this is why a soft answer turneth the way round, because when you're going back and forth with your spouse and you instead of listening to what they're saying, you're formulating your response while they're talking, while you can end up saying a whole lot of stuff that won't just affect the moment negatively, but it will be something that the spouse may have to overcome for years and years and years and years. Because Satan will use words and replay it in people's heads. He'll use it to be a foundation to break up maybe something that God gave you as a gift in the first place. Jesus got in that boat. He went away. The Bible does not tell us how long he was away. And the interesting thing was the people knew that Jesus was grieving. The people knew this was a horrible thing. And instead of allowing Jesus the privacy to deal with it, they followed him and they stood on the shore and they're watching him. They followed him everywhere he went. Now that would have made me angry too. I might have got up and like, you jerks, go away. Can I have a moment? It's not all about you all the time. But Jesus, when he saw those people, he was moved with compassion, redemptive in his thinking. The very people that weren't giving him the privacy, half of them people there was gawking. Don't you hate when you're in a traffic jam? I hate it. I hardly take the freeway home now. I'm in a traffic jam, and I'm thinking, wow, this must be something bad. Just to, when I get to the scene, it's not even an accident. It's a car on the side of the road, and they're getting their tire changed or something, and people are just looking and gawking. So you slow down, everybody. We 20 minutes late because you got to gawk. Keep going, mind your own business. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure there were some gawkers there, right? And Jesus could have been mad about that. But no. He looked at him. He was moved with compassion. And as a result of that, he still allowed God to use them. He got out, he ministered to those people. He blessed those people. He multiplied bread and fish for those people. He fed those people. What got him out of the boat was love. Got him out of anger, got him out of despair is love. Love, that agape love. We are made in the image and likeness of God, and the love of God is on the inside of you, even for people who are unlovely. In fact, I would kind of say it this way. I am not impressed by your love walk when you are dealing with people that you like and in situations that work well. You know what you really got going on when you're dealing with some mess. Who is and what is coming out of you when you're dealing with some mess?
I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I want to invite you to subscribe as well as visit our website at michelleferguson.org. We have some materials there that can help you as you walk through life, live the life that God created for you. As always, I'm Michelle Ferguson, helping you to discover, develop, and celebrate who God has created you to be. See you next time.